Namaskaram. Hi, dear friends. It has been, I think, over a month since I last signed off on Expressions Espresso. While there is a lot of intent to meet more trailblazers and have many more beautiful interactions, as you all are aware, the world is opening up and there's so much of travel on the cards. Lots of work has begun. This slow transition and getting back to near normalcy is definitely very refreshing. Smiles are back, applause is back, live interactions are back. Yet there is still this fetish for the newly discovered charm or compulsion, however it may be referred to during the pandemic, of trying to knit minds and distance through technology. So here we are once again with the 45th episode of Expressions Espresso. The last conversation with Dr. Thiruvarur Bhaktavatsilam was a nostalgic one, sharing many memories of my own guru, Dr. M.L. Vasantakumari Amma. She was the common bond between us throughout the conversation, as you heard it. Thank you very much, Bhaktaji, for your insights, your expressions, and your sharing of music and your significant milestones. Today's guest is going to make all our eyes wide with her beautiful eyes and artistic expressions. She is my favorite for a long time. I'm awed at the variety and diversity of her talent and skills. While she excelled in films, dance, natyam is the other path that she follows as rigidly and with utmost dedication. This is indeed a culmination or a togetherness of talent, beauty, aesthete, variety, and diversity. Hailing from God's own country, this versatile actor grew up in a very beautiful background, literally. Being the niece of the Travancore sisters, Lalitha, Padmini, and Ragini, there was so much of acting, dance, and music in the air that this child quite naturally got absorbed into this arty atmosphere. Bearing a striking resemblance to her aunt, Padmini Amma, she seems to have inherited her talent too, apart from having her own inherent ones. A pile of awards, of which I'm sure she herself has lost track of. An award for her debut film, the youngest classical dancer to have received the Padma Shri, and so many more noteworthy ones. Acting in blockbuster films, paired alongside almost all the superstars of the South. Her skills encompass all: dancing, acting, choreography, and composing, apart from running her own dance institution. She's very passionate about her dance and finds great joy in teaching and being in the arts arena. She is also attempting to discover more and more old songs that will enrich her artistic endeavors. It is with great happiness that I welcome Padma Shri awardee, Kalaratna, Kalaimamani, and National Award winner, Dr. Shobana Chandrakumar, to join us for this evening.
Namaste. Namaste, Akka. How are you?
Namaste. Very well, and you look ravishing as always. Stunning.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You've been very kind in your introduction. And I was just wondering why it took you 45 episodes to get me on your show.
Well, to tell you the truth, I was a little hesitant whether you'd accept. I mean, in the sense, because you were so busy, and I also wanted to establish this Expressions Espresso before I approached you to say,
Well,
hey, listen, Shobs, you should be on
yeah,
this.
yeah. So for me, an interview, I usually don't take part so much in an interview because, these days the interviewers, they think they know it all. They don't do too much of their homework, and then they expect you to say what they want to hear. So adinala, I don't take on so much. But neenga vandu, it's such a pleasure to even interact with you, whether it is off or on camera.
Thank you, Shobana. So too, our audience is super delighted, and I'm sure waiting for this moment to hear all what you can say and
Right.
share about your journey. So when we meet, we usually, shake hands, give a hug, sometimes give a bouquet, ponnade. So since we are online, I'm just going to give you a small bouquet of a little verse.
Okay.
Manikya Veena Upalayanti Madalasa Manjula Vagvilasa
Mm.
Mahendra Niladyuti Komalangi
Mm.
Matanga Kanya Manasa Smarami
Mm.
Matanga Kanya Manasa Smarami Matanga Kanya Manasa Smarami
நான்
That
ரொம்ப
was
கொடுத்துருக்கேன்.
especially for you.
All my favorite ragas.
Yeah, exactly. That's
All my
why.
favorite ragas. So lovely, lovely, lovely. அப்படியே முதல்ல பிடிக்கணும்னு நினைச்சேன், but I thought I shouldn't be doing it.
செஞ்சிருக்கணும். Maybe later. Because you're quite distant to the camera. Kai perisa, the palms. Usually that's what we feel, that it comes before our face. Yeah.
Cinema, we have to take it down. Even now on Instagram, because the frame is only so much. So everybody is like this, like பழைய காலத்து சினிமா மாதிரி தான் இருக்கு. ஈஸியா பண்ணிக்கலாம். Anyway, thank you very much. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
நான் வந்து உங்களுக்கு ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்கலாமா?
தாராளமா.
What is the favorite raga of MLV Mami? That
ஆக்சுவலி அம்மாக்கு வந்து நிறைய ராகங்கள், ஐ மீன் நிறையன்னா ஒரு அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு 6 ராகாஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். க்ளோஸ் டு ஹார்ட்னு சொல்லலாம். சண்முக பிரியா, கல்யாணி, அஃப்கோர்ஸ் தோடி, கல்யாணி தோடி டெஃபினட். அப்புறம் சின்ன ராகங்கள் ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். ஆந்தோலிகா, ஸ்ரீ சக்கரராஜன் ஒரு அழகான சிவசக்தி ராகத்துல, which her guru composed that ragam and the song. So அந்த மாதிரி சின்ன ராகங்கள், ஹம்ச வினோதினி, சுமனேஷ ரஞ்சனி, இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். ஸோ எப்படியாவது ஒரு கச்சேரியில வந்து அட்லீஸ்ட் விருத்தத்துல கொண்டு வந்துருவாரு.
அப்படியா? So அம்மா வந்து what she has told me is, when I was born, so my aunts were very close with MLV Akka. I call her Akka because my mother called her Akka.
Yes.
And when I was born, she came along with the Travancore sisters to see me, and she was the first one who actually picked me up.
Oh, that's such a lovely memory.
முதல்ல எடுத்தாங்களாம். And they were all trying to name me, and then my mother said, "La, no, I'm going to name her." So that is lovely.
Maybe left to her, she might have named you with a name of a raga.
Right. Right. And of course, Vidyaka, we were very close, especially while we were doing films.
Is
We
it?
were
Okay.
very close, yeah.
We should talk about her sometime as we travel in this conversation. எப்போதுமே வந்து நம்ம வந்து what we are todayன்றது when we trace back, இல்லையா? We think of our childhood. That is the period when our foundation was laid, perhaps. And when we talk about childhood, automatically our parents, the influence of the environment, your famous aunts, ellame varum. So I'm just, putting two questions together
Right.
and asking you an elaborate answer, perhaps.
Um, for me, I was always in a world of my own. Those days, nobody understood. I probably was very, very creative.
Hmm.
And I, I think more than my aunts, it is my guru who totally inspired me. So அவளோட the passion, some dedication is one thing, the passion and the especially then totally going into music. I remember our parents were friends, like she and my parents, they were friends. When she used to come home for dinners, she used to go aside, and I was what, barely 8, and I said this, she's, what is she doing? அவங்க வந்து ஜதி வந்து கம்போஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. So I think, just Vadyarna, it's not just what they teach you, it is how they are. Ellame, and the way she, took on a piece and the way she did her productions. Ellame, even her choreographies, there was so much of, thought behind it. இன்ஃபேக்ட் அவங்க தானே அந்த ஈரால தானே எல்லாமே கொண்டு வந்தாங்க. And they were also very academic. The generation before them weren't so academic, isn't it? Ivada Patuka,
Yes.
Sukalan, they were the ones who went into the Abhinaya Darpana, and they taught us all the slokams. And I'm very, very thankful for her to teach us the value of getting into a piece in a holistic way. It's not just அது எடுத்து பண்றது இல்ல, அது என்ன ராகம் போட்டிருக்கா, அது மட்டும் இல்ல, அந்த கம்போசரோட ஹிஸ்டரி என்ன.
Oh.
அந்த டைம்ல அவர் எழுதும் போது, அந்த பதம் எழுதும் போது, there are some times when she gave us anecdotes about that. At that time I thought, okay, maybe this was actually important, the word to word meaning, never to mess with the lines, to interpret it, so that adukku vandu you need to know it in totality and not just take one particular reference. So idella nariyave vandu, I think it's Chitraka who was totally inculcated that within me. And so my famous aunts were actually not very much a part of my upbringing, because they were already married and they had all settled out of Chennai. So it is only myself and நீங்க சினிமா பத்தி கேட்டீங்கன்னா, it is because of Padmini Amma, because I think one day she went for a dinner to K.R. Vijayaji's house. And Vijay auntie was just looking at me, and she said, "Ivan nadipala?" And then my aunt said, "I don't think so." And then I was just looking, and then finally I did a film where I acted with her as her daughter, and that was the one that gave me the Deva Virudu. Adukapram I went back to studies, but felt most at home on a film set. So எல்லாரும் வந்து திட்டு வாங்கிட்டு இருப்பா, என்ன தவிர they never used to pick on me, or never used to say ஒன்னால the shot போச்சு, ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. There was never a shot when I had any kind of difficulty. I'm saying when I was a kid. Of course, it all changed when I grew up. But on the time level, I just took to it very easily. And I loved the life of total freedom. Everything was taken care of in the films. When I was 9, it was great. You just get away from school. Somebody comes and picks you up. Somebody drops you. You just sit wearing all those costumes. So I think it was a very easy thing for me to actually get into, and very, very positive introduction into this
Right.
world of films. So Adinala, when my chances came up as a heroine, we just went into it happily. There was no forcing or anything from my parents' side. Of course, my father, he insisted. He said, you're just above 13, so you can't do your 10th standard or 12th standard now. But he insisted that I finished my
Right.
school somewhere along the way. I mean, she said, whatever you do, you need to keep studying. So that was from my dad.
Right. So this first film got you the debut award, the best child artist, or was it something else?
ஆமா கிடைச்சது.
But என்ன role அது? என்ன வித்தியாசமான role? I mean, if it
இல்ல
won an award for you,
தெரியல. ஒரு வித்தியாசமான ரோல்னே சொல்ல முடியல. அது ஆம், ஏன்னா தெரியல. மேபி கியூட்டா இருந்திருக்கலாம் தெரியல.
இல்ல
பட்
பட் ஏதாவது நடிக்காத அந்த அந்த அவார்ட் கொடுப்பாளா சொல்லுங்க.
படுறதுக்கு ஒன்றும் தெரியல. Maybe that was the only film at that year that had a child actor in that movie. And அது
Being
வந்து
very modest, Shobana. Come on.
it was okay. It was okay. I didn't even know the value of getting an award at that time. So, yeah.
So you worked with some of the best directors across the cinema industry and all languages.
Yeah.
And I think your body of work, you've given some of the finest films with the directors, of course, that have remained etched in all our memories. So this is a difficult question, when you have to singularly say someone, some name, but inevitable question, I guess. Who's the most challenging of directors to work with? And you have to describe one anecdote or incident in this partnership that put you
Well,
through a hard test.
well, challenging, is it like somebody who is also multi-talented and phenomenal and like a master director? Is that the question? Or
Yes, I mean, it could be that as well. I meant
okay.
all the directors that you worked with.
Okay, well, I think Mr. Adur Gopalakrishnan Chatan, I mean, I did a film when I was very, very young with him. So pairing with me was Mr. Mammootty. We did a film called Anantaram. And I think working with Adur sir was largely, I was in the dark because he, in retrospect, I was always wondering, when everybody can tell me everything about the story and the scene, why isn't Adur sir just telling me anything? Because I would just go to the set, and it was like the quietest set that I've ever worked in. எல்லாருமே இல்ல sign languageல தான். So even if I kind of mustered the courage to ask the AD, saying that இந்த scene, he will just say, Kerala itself speaks volumes, And I say, oh, shari. Then, sir would come and then, sir would just look and say, இங்க வாங்க, அப்படி போங்க, இப்படி பாருங்க. அவ்வளவுதான். And the thing is, in retrospect, he's got so much, he's conceived everything to the T. So I think it is like this. Any external interference in his solala would probably get the entire cards like just go crashing down in thondrathu. I think for me, that was a film that I was really in the dark. And everybody else, they were more like, in fact, Priyadarshan. I think he's is a phenomenal, he's a master craftsman. So Priyadarshan and I are more like friends. So we've had phenomenal times working. In fact, this film Muttu and all, a lot of super language, what do you call that, remakes. They were all from some of my hit films, especially of Mr. Priyadarshan. Then of course Fazal sir, Mr. Maniratnam. Yeah, avangalla vandu, I'm actually glad to have see, it's not like in the West where you have these designated colleges to go to for acting. You got to go to your thing, you got to go through auditions, you got to learn your lines, you got to do all that. But here it's very, very different. So all your learning comes with apprenticing now. பார்த்து தான் நம்ம பார்த்து படிக்கணும். the way you kind of learn about human sentiments is when you work with all these brilliant minds in terms of script. So அதிலிருந்து தான் நம்ம படிக்கிறோம். Example, when I was 15, I had to play a mother, which was okay. But a mother who lost her child. So it was very difficult because, there's a corpse of this child and I'm only 15 and I'm wearing some munda and I'm like, taking everything and they're like, opari vekkano. I'm like, I don't know what it is to do that. Then you so in the marida Malayalathala vandu enoda training, I've really worked with not only excellent directors but also fantastic artists, actors as well.
Anecdote சொல்லலையே.
Anecdote இவரோட அடூர் சாரா?
Whichever stays in your mind.
Well, anecdotes நிறைய இருக்கு. இப்ப ஃபாசில் சாரோட film which I did, which is called மணிச்சித்திர தாழ், that was one of a classic films. அது வந்து எல்லாமே அவர் வந்து சொல்லி கொடுத்ததுதான். எல்லாமே in fact it's just the opposite. The way to walk, the way to talk. There's one scene. Have you seen that film?
No, I haven't. But it's been on my mind.
Adu vandu, there is a scene where I have to, pick up a bed. So it is a person with, they don't show you what it is exactly. It could be misconstrued as either a supernatural power or it could be some kind of a psychiatric condition now. So the script is so beautifully done that till the end, you're actually thinking of whether this is a supernatural film or whether it is some kind of very intellectually classic. So idhula vandu I had to go and lift a bed. So suddenly this person is normal and then her face changes. And so on those times you never had any special effects. There was nothing. It was a very simple camera. And now you have the technically it's so evolved that it's so confusing now. You have a camera here, you have a camera there. One guy is cutting, one guy is editing, one guy is saying this is not okay. It's just wholly nuts for me when I did my first film. But anga vandu, you see those directors, they just had one camera. They used to script it, and then if they didn't like it, they couldn't even go back and see it and say this is okay, not okay. They would just say let's just take one more. So in the shot and the same shot, I had to go down and then I had to come up. My face had to be totally changed.
Right.
So then he was like, what do we do? Then I said, sir, maybe we could take an eyebrow pencil and draw two lines here and draw two lines here and just see if that worked. So that was all that we needed to do, and that was such. I wish you could like play that sequence or something. But at that time, the whole face and everything just changed with just that one touch. So the very, it's not only in Malayalam. I mean, also in Tamil, I've worked with Mr. Bhagiraj. And the padathalayum vandu, both Priyadarshan and Bhagiraj, the one thing that they have in common is that they don't come with a scene. So you have this kodiya vandu or set pannirpaanga. Adula vandu director varuvaru, it's all in his head, and then he comes there. I think somebody smokes in one of these two directors. So it's this anga vandu paapanga paatittu, I think and the chaos la vandu, I think they start to script, and the whole thing is done and it's no editing, and then you have a super duper hit. I mean, how amazing is that? Room போட்டு in front of the seaside ஒண்ணும் இல்ல. இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனுக்கெல்லாம் ஒரு ரூம் போட்டு சீசைட்ல அதெல்லாம் உட்காந்து எழுதி சத்தம் இல்லாம ஒண்ணுமே கிடையாது. இந்த two directors, I tell you, they are so brilliant. And அதுல என்ன ப்ராப்ளம்னா நம்ம அப்பவே லைனை படிக்கணும்.
Exactly, of course.
Respond. ஆமா, ஒரு ஸ்கிராட்சே இல்ல. So இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேசிட்டு இருக்கலாம் அந்த டைரக்டர்ஸை பத்தி.
இப்போ கோலிவுட், டோலிவுட், சாண்டல்வுட் எல்லாம் சொல்றோம் இல்லையா? which நீங்க எல்லாத்துலயும் ஒரு கால் வச்சிருக்கேன், கண்டிப்பா பதிச்சிருக்கேன்.
எல்லாத்துலயும் ஒரு காலை வச்சேன். இப்ப காலிவுட்னா எனக்கு வந்து என்ன ஏதுன்னு தெரியல. சாண்டல்வுட்னா எனக்கு அந்த ஸ்மக்லர் ஞாபகம் தான் வருது. டாலிவுட்னா தமிழோ? தமிழ் தான் டாலிவுட்டா? இல்ல கல்கட்டாவா?
Bollywood வந்து தெலுங்கு.
ஓ! Tollywood எப்படி அப்படி ஆயிடுச்சு. ஓகே, ஓகே. டோ Tollywood, I always think of Tollygunj and I just get confused. And Malayalam, I hope is Mollywood.
அத விட்டுருவோம்.
Mollywood.
Woods விட்டுருவோம். Let's come to the cinema. Let's come to the front. Which industry do you feel gave you the freedom to just be yourself? You know, உங்களோட டான்ஸ், உங்க ஆக்டிங் ரெண்டுத்தையும் இன்டிகிரேட் பண்ணி அழகா
Okay. Well, I don't think any of these industries curbed an actor's freedom. I think an actor is not supposed to be yourself, basically, the first thing. It's just that they have an ethnicity to stick to. And especially in ஆந்திரால கூட இருக்கு, தெலுங்கு சினிமாஸ்ல இருக்கு, தமிழ்நாட்டிலையும் இருக்கு, எல்லாத்துலயும் இருக்கு. Just because you're doing a Tamil film, it doesn't mean it could be Madras Tamil, it could be Coimbatore, it could be anything, and there's a way everybody looks. There's a particular little gestures that we kind of think would help in communicating that ethos. So மலையாளத்துல கூட கோழிக்கோடு பாஷை இருக்கு, திருவனந்தபுரம் பாஷை இருக்கு, அதெல்லாம் இருக்கு. So I think ஃப்ரீடம்னு கொடுக்கிறது எல்லாரும் தான் ஃப்ரீடம் கொடுத்துருக்கா. எல்லாரும் தான் ஃப்ரீடம் கொடுத்துருக்கா. But because I am a Malayali and I began working in Malayalam films, for me I was a little more comfortable there. But because I grew up in Tamil Nadu, I was also comfortable in doing Tamil and Telugu films, because Telugu films, they were very theatrical.
Right.
So in my first film, even if you look up at the language, the first film when I did a film with Dr. Bhanumati Amma. So அதுவும் ஒரு child artist ஓட character தான். And she gave me like a page. She said, కోడలు పద్మిని గారు కోడలు మీరు చెప్పండి ఏదో నువ్వు చెప్పు. So I had this dialogue which I still remember. It was బ్రతికించింది మేము కాదు నాన్న, బ్రతికించింది బాధ్యతలు మర్చింది మీరు, నెలకు ముష్టి మూడు అమ్మతికి చీకటి మిగతా డబ్బంతా లాభంలోకి తగ్గిస్తున్నారు, ఇల్లు ఎలా గడుస్తుంది. It was one long, I mean, this is only just a little bit of it.
Beautiful.
அந்த வயசுல அந்த வேர்ட்ஸ் போனதுனால தான் I actually did not have a huge problem in any of the languages. As you know, அந்த வயசுல தான் once you hear. So எனக்கு படிச்சா எனக்கு I am not able to memorize it. I just have to, somebody has to read it to me. So Telugu films, I was hugely comfortable. ஏன்னா இட்ஸ் ஈஸி, நம்மளோட ஏசி ஃபேனு எல்லாமே அந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரி பண்ணிதான் வருது, அது வேறு. அண்ட் ஸோ எல்லாமே எனக்கு தமிழ், actually Tamil was the easiest for me because I got to stay at home.
Yeah. Even when I watch Malayalam movies, I see that the dialect changes. It's so lovely when it falls on the ear. ஒவ்வொருத்தர் பேசுறது, இப்போ பிருத்விராஜ் வந்து ஒரு ஃபிலிம்ல பேசுறது இன்னொரு அந்த ஸ்லாங் வந்து மாறிண்டே இருக்கும். அந்த மாதிரி everything, Tobino Thomas, whatever, whoever, the language, the way they talk, as you said, depending on the ethos, depending on the environment, I think it all changes. Now I just want to hear a little bit from you. ஒரு கோழிக்கோடு மலையாளம், ஒரு Trivandrum city மலையாளம்.
Trivandrum city எந்திரே ரதீஷ் அப்படி வருவாங்க. கோழிக்கோடு வந்து இன்னும் ஒரு கொஞ்சம் நிறைய முஸ்லிம்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. So they have particular way. யாராவது சொல்லி கொடுத்தா சொல்லலாம் இமீடியட்டா. பட் வைனி போய்னி திருச்சூர் வந்து எந்துட்டக்கடாவே திருச்சூர் ஸ்லாங், திருச்சூர் பால்காட் ஸ்லாங் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் தமிழ் கலந்து இருக்கும். கொச்சின் வந்து கொஞ்சம் நியூட்ரல் தான் இல்ல, கொச்சின் வந்து கொஞ்சம் அதான் கரெக்டா தான் நாங்க பேசுவோம், விஜயவாடா தெலுங்கு மாதிரி, தமிழ் மாதிரி, அதுதான்.
So after when you sorry, you wanted to say something more?
இல்ல தெலுங்குல கேட்டிங்கன்னா தெரியாது,
தெலுங்குலயும் இருக்கு of course. Yeah, but it's so lovely when it becomes musical. It goes interior and it becomes musical. It's so like அந்த புஷ்பா படத்துல வந்து the slang is so beautiful. ஒரு sing song way of speaking the language இருக்கும்.
Village introduction.
Yes, yes. So I was talking about Mitra Shobana. You received the national award, and it was an all-women crew, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think is an advantage of all-women ventures? Is there an advantage, or it's just that beautiful atmosphere where all women are there?
So எனக்கு, I mean, for me, a crew is a crew. You know, I mean, if it's a woman, it's fine. If it's a guy, if it's a woman, I mean, it's okay. If you're doing a man's job, that's great. But a guy can also do a woman's job. So for me, எனக்கு, I don't have those kind of delineations. Uh, I think a woman crew, no, I didn't find
Yeah,
anything different, because they did a job that we think a man should do. And now it is vice versa. Mitra was done in, I think it's at least about 20 years ago.
years ago, yes.
Right. So now, there are a lot of women on the sets. There are a lot of women on the sets. A lot of women doing a guy's job. I think that was one of the first films. So, people hyped it like that. And,
Okay.
we didn't need so many people because we were, we were abroad. We couldn't afford that. So, எனக்கு அதான், when people ask me, I'm like, it's okay. I mean, they did a man's job, எனக்கு தெரியல அந்த differentiation.
You're absolutely professional. I wanted this answer from you.
சரி.
um, okay. You've, again, it's about acting. Can you tell
Sure.
us one key point that struck you over the years that you find consistent and positive in each of the film industries? You don't have to say it
Okay.
compulsively. If you don't have anything, you can say no. I mean, there's nothing.
That's okay. Positively about the film industry, let me just say that the Telugu film industry, they are extremely hospitable.
Hmm.
They are extremely polite. Not to say that somebody else isn't, but the way, even like the topmost, the producer respects you. Is phenomenal. I mean, there is one producer I just worked with, Baijanti Movies. He's done many films. I mean, I just walk into the set, he gets up. And I was like, "Sir, మీరేంటండి మీరు ఇట్లా ఇల్లమ్మా మీరు బాగున్నారండి మీరు." So they come with, they have this whole canteen of some excellent food, and then the hero also gives food, and then he comes with his own food from his house. Poor thing. His wife. So it's like so many. I'm like, "Miru endukandi, especially for we guys don't eat too much." So I think Telugu films are very hospitable, and தமிழ்ல வந்து mm, there's so much of camaraderie. தமிழ்ல வந்து இப்ப தமிழ் பாஷை தெரிஞ்சதுனாலயும் அந்த சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஹியூமரும் அதனால அதுல வந்து அது அடிச்சுக்கிறதுக்கு இல்ல. ஆக்சுவலி எல்லாமே தமிழ் என்ன பேசினாலும் நமக்கு அது we can get it, so half the time we're just busy having fun. Malayalam is home.
Right.
So Malayalam is very natural. Malayalam, அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாலும் is accepted. ஏன்னா நம்ம அப்படிதான் பண்றோம். வந்து எல்லாருக்கும், I'm talking about many years ago. Probably it's actually changed now. So everybody, all the technicians get the same biscuit. We get the same biscuit. So for me, I've grown up in the Malayalam industry, and where the budgets were low, and they were, therefore they were highly thinking, அதெல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு ரொம்ப they'll cut the cloak according to the cloth, and then they will make like a princess's outfit out of it or something. And so எனக்கு வந்து அவங்கள வந்து எடை போட தெரியல. நான் தான் அந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரி. மலையாளம் வந்து நான் என்ன பண்ணாலும் ஓகே. But for an outsider, like I've overheard people, actors coming in from the, some other industry, and then them making a call at home, So the mother would have said, "How is it? How is it working with, ABCD?" And I'm listening, and that says, "It's so difficult. There's nothing. There's nothing here. There's no caravan. There's." So then I'm thinking, நாங்கெல்லாம் அப்படிதான், நாங்கெல்லாம் அப்படிதான், Hindi, I've only done two films with Adu with the Malayalam. I think it was a Malayalam set. I'm not too sure. Kannada, I have not done many.
Okay. Now to Subbalakshmi of Talapati.
Ah,
That
I thought
that
you meant MS Amma. சொல்லுங்க.
you just I think you were something in that. Some magic when you
Really?
came நிஜமாவே when you came on screen ஒண்ணுமே நீ பேசுறது கூட கேட்காது. அப்படியே ஆன்னு பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பேன் நான்.
குனித்த
No, what a film, really. And you were just super duper in that. So we hear that you wept on the sets because you missed home because
I
you were
did.
just 20 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very young, and I wept, not of course in front of everybody, because I was a heroine, you see. And still remember the episode. There was some cave in some Karnataka or some place. Mr. Mammootty was also there. So நாங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் கொஞ்சம் தனியா உட்காருவோம். ஏன்னா camaraderie, Malayalis, I think. கொஞ்சம் நாங்க தனியா உட்கார்ந்து so அவர் வந்து இப்படி கொஞ்சம் இப்படி பார்த்தாரு, because he, I've done 55 films with him.
Oh my.
Yeah, I've done 55 films with him. Of course, not then, but after that, I must have done many more. So he was looking at me. He kind of knew I was out of color and out of mood. And then he said, "Inda, usually pesa matar." But outside, he's like, "Seri pao, pesalame inda." Then I started weeping. I said, Mr. Maniratnam vandu veetukke vida mattikrar. I think my call sheet, I had come from 2 films.
Okay.
I had come already doing two films in Kerala. This was my 3rd film, and I wanted to go home. And every day Mani ji would say, "Naalik polam," because of course, he had this huge nariya kudara people, animal trainers. He had fighters, and of course, adu nammo nadikira mari adu mudiyala. So he would come and say, "Naalik polam." அப்ப நாளைக்கு வந்து தென் அது அப்படியே வந்து பேக்கப் சொல்லும்போது he'll say, "நாளைக்கு போலாம்." ஸோ இந்த நாளைக்கு போலாம், நாளைக்கு திருநாளை போகிற மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு. அதே தான். So it's the same thing. So then I just burst out. I said, "Listen, I want to go home." And then அவர் என்ன சொன்னாரு, ஐயோ, this is all you are. மலையாளத்துல சொன்னாரு, இത്രே உள்ளோ நீ. He said that, so sweet. So yeah, I wept.
But what was it to act, to be, on this side, or a superstar, on this side, or superstar? How did it feel?
எனக்கு ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. They're not superstars. They're my colleagues.
Yeah, but என்ன இருந்தாலும் ஒரு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்ல வந்து இவ்வளவு நடிச்சிருக்காவா அப்படின்னு உங்களுக்கு சீனியர் தானவா? டெஃபினட்டா
சீனியர் தான். பட் நம்ம ஒரு நடிக்கிறச்சே we don't look at them as superstars. We look at them as a character. If you don't look at them as a character, you got to look at him as your dad or your husband or your காமுகன். அந்த டைம்ல வந்து சூப்பர் ஸ்டாரா ஆனா சொன்னா வராது. So முதல் படத்துல தான் வந்து கமல் சார் தான் ஹீரோ. அங்க கொஞ்சம் பயந்து போயிட்டேன். It was first film, and he was a walking god at that time, even now, but at that time he was like 33 or 34. He was சகலகலா வல்லவன்லாம் வந்து நான் ஒரு பாதி கோழி மாதிரி, I was standing, and then at that it was the only movie where I was scared of everything. This was my first actually big commercial film, and I had it all. I was lucky enough. SP Muthuraman sir was the director, Balachandar sir was the producer, and Saroj Kanama, Pullur Saroja was the choreographer. So they were all big. They were doing this day in and day out. They were making multi-crore films, and I was just turned 14. They booked me on my 14th birthday.
பாதி கோழி
அது யார் அந்த டிரான்சிஸ்டர் மாதிரி இருக்கேன்னு சொன்னது மிஸ்டர் மது. ஐ டோன்ட் நோ இஃப் யூ ஹர்ட் ஆஃப் ஹிம். மிஸ்டர் மதுங்கிற ஆக்டர். So anyway, so அந்த படத்துல தான் I really didn't know what I was doing. அந்த படத்துல தான் கொஞ்சம் tongue tied அந்த படத்துல தான். But after that, you get your own confidences, you get your own hits, and you get an idea of who you are, and you do know that if you're going to mess up, there's no more films for you. So everything else is only secondary.
I like your candidness. The fact, reality. அதை அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு ஹியூமிலிட்டி வேணும். That's love.
ஆக்டிங்ல வந்து இதுதானே நம்ம வந்து, பிகாஸ் எவ்ரிபடி தே ட்ரஸ்ட் யூ சோ மச். இப்போ மணி சார் வந்து ஒரு 300 கோடியோ 200 கோடியோ, அந்த காலத்துல எத்தனை கோடியோ தெரியல, அவ்வளோ ஒரு கோடி வந்து he is invested on you. So there is no bungling up from an artist side. So அதெல்லாம், that is all, I think older set of artists, they come with that, saying that, we cannot, நம்ம blame நம்ம மேல வரக்கூடாதுங்கிற ஒரு கான்ஷியன்ஸ் இருந்தது.
So you've been known to hold your ground in terms of how much you can offer, how much of yourself, the acting wise, in every shot.
Right.
So ஏதோ மழை சீனாமே ரஜினி சாரோட அந்த, or was it a
famous மழை scene where I அம்மா அது வந்து வேற படம். அந்த அந்த கர்டன் எபிசோடா, அது டேபிள் கிளாத்
something.
ஆமா, I mean that was all fun because it's like always you're playing a chess game with everybody. So I mean that was a typical white sari and I was not comfortable. I think I already told everybody, and this rain scene was, it's okay, it's just one of those anecdotes that people ask me. But the best part of it, and I'm really grateful, was Rajani sir was totally in it with me. It was like, he had to lift me, and I don't even know the song. It was a nice song. Now bandala kattinde, I was white sari, white petticoat, white everything inside, and I was like, oh God. And those days, now everything is very streamlined, amma. It's very comfortable now, like you have fire engine. Those days எந்த தண்ணி நம்ம மேல போடுறாங்கன்னே தெரியாது. அந்த tank வந்து நேரா வந்து அவங்களுக்கு இப்படி வந்து, it's so they'll aim it directly at you, that the whole pressure will come. எந்த சாப்பாடுல இருந்து. So after that rain song, கண்ணெல்லாம் I had pus.
Wow.
கண்ணெல்லாம் pus. So it's like, but now I'm just so envious of all these actors who got it all so done for them, which is fine. So Rajni sir வந்து, he kind of never told out anybody. That was so nice of him. He was like oh I still remember, it's like he's like, so we were in on that secret where I cut a tablecloth from my makeup room and I put it inside my skirt so that the skirt and the sari doesn't stick onto me. So when he picked me up, the whole thing crumpled inside and there was a noise which only he heard. So he figured out. He's like, as soon as he's like, he's like, oh, பரவாயில்லை, நான் சொல்ல மாட்டேன் யாரையும்.
So cute. You had the presence of mind to do it. That's what is so,
Amma, I really want to go out there, because I was not prepared. And sometimes they'll, if you're caught napping, it's a pain because you can't even delay it, right? No.
So this 80s gathering, 80s la irundha actors la, you meet up sometime?
அது ஒரு பெரிய secret. It's like we're like a clan of sisters who've sewn to secrecy, Mari.
Okay.
Not supposed to talk about it to anybody.
All right.
Cut our fingers and we kind of add the bloods together. I was just joking.
No, but I can imagine the secrecy that you've sworn.
Nothing. We get together and we just talk about old times. We've all walked.
Just be you.
Sorry, Akka, I didn't hear.
No, you just be you. Appo இல்லையா, நாம என்னவோ அது நேச்சுரலா அப்படியே இருப்போம். Because people whom you've worked with, whom you know so well.
Amma. I'm kind of myself. Otherwise, I don't meet many people because I have so much to do. I don't know why I do so many things. I do so much and there's so little bit of productiveness at the end of the day. What did you do today? Nothing. So anyway, that aside, I meet with my friends who we're all very comfortable with each other. And I do have a few secret friends. Revati is my secret friend. We kind of hang out other than the group. Then now we're having our union. It's around the 11th or 12th, and we always come in. We have great fun. Fancy dress illa, but we have color coded. So there's இத்தனை வல்லிய ஸ்டார்ஸுக்கு இவெல்லாம் எல்லாம் பெரிய பெரிய பெரியவா. You must see the way they get so excited about the color codes. These are people who, worn it all. Flower pots on their head. They've LED'd their jackets. Right? And they've shined their boots and they've done it, worn it all. அவ வந்து இப்போ அந்த they get so excited. சரி இப்போ கிரே அண்ட் பிங்க்னா பிங்க் மேல வருமா கோட்டு கிளியர்ல வருமா அப்புறம் என்ன ஒரு கேள்வி எத்தனை தடவை அந்த கேள்விக்கு நாங்க இதை ஆன்சர் பண்ணணும். ஸோ இட்ஸ் ஹியூஜ் கம்பராபிலி. நான் வந்து டேட்டே மறந்து போயிட்டேன். So somebody else like me has been saying, and they've been so many messages. So there's one person is constantly sending one balloon. I'm unable to figure. I'm saying என்னது November 12th இல்ல நாங்க ஒரு வருஷம் பிளான் பண்ணிட்டு மறந்து போயிட்டேன். So it's great fun. Not only is it like a chat group now, we are planning to get into a retirement home soon. இதெல்லாம் எங்களோட ஒரு பிரம, எங்க ஃபியூச்சர் பிளான்ஸ் வந்து ஒரு பெரிய நிலமெல்லாம் வாங்கி ஆப்போசிட் தி சீ நடக்காது. பட் இதெல்லாம் தான் நாங்க பேசிட்டு இருப்போம். So nice. So basically we want to grow old together.
Right.
So அவளுக்கு ஒரு camaraderie இருக்கு இந்த குரூப்ல.
So lovely. So இவ்வளவு சினிமா பண்ணிட்டு இவ்வளவு ஒரு ஆக்டர்ஸோட இருந்துட்டு டைரக்டர்ஸோட இருந்துட்டு and you've kind of not acted, you've just been yourself in all the films literally. அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு ஆக்டிங் பண்ணிருக்கேன். ஸோ எப்போ வந்து டான்ஸ் டுக் ப்ரீசிடென்ஸ்?
என்னோட தெலுங்கு ஃபிலிம்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்துருக்கேளா? So okay, so அங்க வந்து acting is very difficult because மலையாளத்திலயும் வந்து வேற மாதிரியா இருக்கணும். So the most difficult thing for me, I know you're asking me about my dance.
No, I know you're coming to that. Yeah,
I'm coming to that. So before that, the reason why I kind of took off was because I was doing too many varied kind of films. I was எங்கேயோ ஏதோ ஒரு படத்துல போய் எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்து கண்மையெல்லாம் போடாம நேரா அடுத்தது வந்து நிறைய வேஷம் போட்டு கட்டி வேற மாதிரி ஒரு சொல்லு. My mind just blew. I did 67 or 70 films in Telugu as well. I've done so many. So this whole thing, finally I said, there is nothing that I can do for myself. Because I was, even while I was doing films, I was very occupied with my music.
Right.
So I used to ask my parents to send me, not my mother, because my mother never knew too much about traditional music. I used to ask my dad to record and send me tapes of MDR sir, Shemangudi mama, Unga Vadyar, MS Amma. அது மட்டும் இல்ல. I used to listen to a lot of percussion tapes. So where Ragu sir, Parni Subramaniam Pillaya, and the Mari, I used to listen. So that used to occupy me. And of course music, I used to just love the music. There was no intellectual curiosity at that point. But when it comes to percussion, I would want to figure it out. It was easier. So appave I used to sit and try to notate it in my language. I used to notate it. I can't sing. I've never learned to sing. But every song that I would do, I used to constantly perform. But I knew that every song that I performed to, whether it was a Swati Tirunal, like whether it was Bhavayami or whether it was a Padavarnam, I knew that I wanted to know all these swarams, chitta swarams. And for a person who didn't learn music, I had all the time because I was doing films. So I used to sit and notate it in my own way. And I used to memorize the entire thing before I went on stage. So that became an obsession with me to totally learn what I was going to perform. Because I didn't want to be in a situation where, we have musicians who are accompanying you, look at you inside and they said, உங்களுக்கு ஆக்சுவலி இதை பத்தி தெரியாது, நீங்க உங்க வேலையை பண்ணுங்க. ஸோ அந்த ஒரு it came to that, not for me, but I saw another colleague of mine going through that.
Okay.
And they got very dependent. So I found that you as an artist, you're not supposed to go through that process. You're supposed to not go through that process because it's going to take off all your confidence. So that was what I worked on because I had the time. So then adikapro I got very much into music, and then this whole film was, nothing was changing. It was the same roles, it was the same roles, it was the same lines, it was the same color combination. Color illiye ella white dane. So it was the same hair, same everything. And then I said, I've had enough. Let me just do something that I want. So I kind of went back. I didn't go back, I was performing. And then I started doing performances on my own where I wanted to do my own pieces. So this wanting to do my own pieces, of course, it was not all okay. I'm sure I must have made a lot of mistakes technically. But I think that was what I got hooked on to. Not the dance per se. It was wanting better and better music, which I still do.
But you realize that you've matured in your knowledge of music and you know what you're doing now, right?
I do. We always know what we're doing. It's just that whether it was good enough for an audience to waste their time, namakku theriyadu. So adu mattum dhaan. When an audience comes, avalukku theriyadu paavam, they don't know. And the other thing that I wanted to share with you is, a lot of people ask me, either when the traditional audience, this audience, they are lay people, they don't know much, what would you do for them? That's one question that I want to answer on this.
No, it's the same with music, Shobana. Like when you go to a particular city which is not so kind of used to Carnatic music, they will ask you, which language are you going to sing? Whose composition are you going to sing? Don't sing too much of raga and swara. Just sing popular, well-known songs. So, you don't completely bend towards that, but you kind of neutralize and manage to please those people who don't know music as well, right? Who don't know.
Of course.
So what did you?
Sorry.
What did you do?
For me, they never stopped with that. They used to always say, இந்த படத்துல இந்த song அதை நீங்க பண்ணலாமே. So நான் வந்து ஒரு 2.5 மணி நேரம் ஆடி இருப்பேன். I would have performed for 2.5 hours, and then at the end of it they would say, ஐயோ இந்த மணிச்சத்திர தாழா சாங் செய்யாம ஆயிருதுலே. அப்படி எப்படி அதை பண்ண முடியும்? அது வந்து ஃபிலிமு, இது வந்து லைவ், அது வந்து அவ்வளோ அழகா அவங்க எடுத்துப்பாங்க. அதே வந்து நம்ம இங்க வந்து நாஸ்தி பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி செஞ்சு, I've told them, but for me, I really don't think that I am very particular about the nomenclature. So when I say it is fusion, I do a lot of fusion. The reason I do a lot of fusion is because I love the music. So I say it is this, it is that. So a lot of productions of mine, like Krishna and Maya Ravan and even Trance, it's traditional dance. It is a bit of traditional music, but it's not traditional dance. But I have kind of found myself also using the traditional mudras, with the main aim is to communicate. So now the thing is, when you sing, I'm saying, you're not actually singing it to please an audience. You're singing it, you like it. Now they like it, that doesn't mean that you are trying to entertain them. Entertaining is not a bad thing. You should entertain. Why is entertaining thing, you are thinking of that as something wrong? When you intellectually, the audience is stimulated, that is entertainment. Right. When you cannot stimulate them intellectually, then what else you do? You try to educate them. When you can't educate them, there must be, you should have, they should take back home something. Maybe they'll come to the next, they don't know why they're coming. Tirupim polanda. எதுக்கு வராங்க தெரியல, எதுக்கோ வராங்க, அவங்களுக்கு தெரியல, பட் வராங்க இல்லையா? So that has been my thing is to எனக்கு இந்த விவாவாலாம் எனக்கு தெரியல. What I like everything. For me, I see everything so fantastically beautiful. So சில ராகங்கள்ல தான் புரியாது. A lot of ragams that I don't get. But there are, so I just take out songs that I have a good time doing, and that has always worked with the grace of God.
See, at least with dance, there's visual.
Right.
ஒரு
Oh yeah.
ஆடினாலும் ஒரு விஷுவல் அப்பீல் டெஃபினட்டா இருக்கு. பட்
course.
பாட்டுல வந்து இப்போ திடீர்னு ஒரு எதுக்குள்ள காம்போஜி எடுத்துன்னு அதை ஒரு 1/2 மணி நேரம் பாடின்னு நினைச்சுக்கோங்க. To an audience which is not familiar with classical music, it becomes difficult for them to penetrate into the music, yeah? Or rather the music to penetrate into their heads. அப்போ வந்து you use a tandana, to make the air atmosphere lighter and for them to say, oh, இது கூட இருக்கு இந்த சங்கீதத்துல அப்படின்னு.
இங்கேயும் இருக்கு, நாட்டியத்திலயும் இருக்கு. We have these folks in one era. You had all these folk tunes and stuff. You even had snake dances. Kamalama used to do all those snake performances.
Correct,
and all.
Correct.
And அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் it became like, இது பண்ணக்கூடாது எல்லாமே actually பண்ணலாம். The piece has to choose you. Instead of you choosing the piece, you got to get chosen by the piece. So yeah, so what is your favorite ragam then?
Not really. I mean, I don't think I can answer that properly because I've always felt that, என்ன ராகம் இன்னைக்கு பாட போறேன். Suppose it's Bhairavi. கார்த்தாலேந்து அதை முணுமுணுத்துட்டு இருப்பேன். அது வந்து அதோட ஒன்றி போயிடும் இல்லையா? It's on the top of your mind. You're practicing that. You're humming that, and you're going to sing that at the concert. So it becomes, like your best buddy on that day. So அடுத்த நாள் ஹேமாவதி பாட போறேன்னு அப்ப ஹேமாவதி becomes my friend.
Do you have like these friends? Do they have characters that you really you associate them with either an event or a character? Do they have a character? Like for me, Todi is very glamorous. எனக்கு ரொம்ப glamorous. So when I ask somebody to say இந்த வர்ணமணிக்கு, they're like, இந்த இவங்களுக்கு போய் நம்ம தோடி பாடணுமா? I said, தோடி என்ன பிரச்சனை, நல்லா பாட வந்ததுன்னா இவங்களுக்கு தான் பாடணும். So I find Todi very glamorous. I find Shankarabharanam hugely romantic.
Really?
Yeah, I do, because also the association, all the Padavarnams, most of them are.
Yes. For us, it is like, like Shankarabharanam is majesty, grandeur. அந்த காந்தாரத்துல நின்னு பாடுறச்சே நமக்கு வந்து the whole world opens up அந்த மாதிரி. And of course, நான் பாடி கேட்டு there's a kind of a majesty and divinity combined in that. தோடி பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் ஜிஎன் சார் நிறைய பாடி கேட்டிருக்கேன் நான் from tapes and MLVMA. So it's like, it's like vigor and a lot of confidence and அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு weight உள்ள ராகம்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு ராகத்துக்கும் ஒரு அசோசியேஷன் ட்ரேட் இருக்கு, அசோசியேட்டட் ட்ரேட் இருக்கு. சில வேளை நாம வந்து அந்த ராகத்தை வந்து அந்த பாடி நம்ம கேட்ட அந்த கேரக்டரோட பர்சனாலிட்டியோட நம்ம அசோசியேட் பண்ணுவோம்.
ஆமா.
இப்போ சுனாத வினோதினி அப்படின்னா எனக்கு பாலமுரளி சார் மோகம் மட்டும்தான் வரும், இந்த தேவாதி தேவ கேட்டு.
எனக்கு இதெல்லாம் தெரியாது
அந்த மாதிரி. No, you said no, faces, do incidents come to your mind? So அந்த மாதிரி.
இந்தோளம் எல்லாம் என்ன உங்களுக்கு? What do you think of, like what you, for me I think of one Tilana I've done for like 10 years when I was a kid. So அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு பீஸும் தொட்டதில்லை இந்தோளத்துல.
Indolam is like, it's easy for people to relate to, because it is ஒரு ease இருக்கு அந்த ராகத்துல. Even for the artist to handle it, there's a certain ease. See, the way you sing it, there's a kind of a breezy. Yeah. So, but then அதுலயுமே தீக்ஷிதரோட கீர்த்தனை பாடுறச்சே your approach will change.
இந்தோளத்திலயா இருக்கா?
நீரஜாக்ஷி இருக்கு இல்லையா, அது பாடுறச்சே மாறும். அந்த மாதிரி இப்போ கீர்த்தனைக்கு ஒரு ராகத்தை எடுத்துனோன்னு அதுல என்ன கீர்த்தனை ஹேண்டில் பண்றோம் அதுக்கு பொறுத்தும் அந்த ராகத்தோட ஆட்டிடியூட் சேஞ்ச் ஆகும் கொஞ்சம்.
ஈவன் டான்ஸ்ல கூட பதத்துல எல்லாமே கொஞ்சம் அவங்க இந்த ராகத்தையே கொஞ்சம் கரெக்டா அந்த மூடுக்கு மாதிரி தான் போட்டிருக்காங்க. So I guess it's the same thing. How much they knew about it, yeah, the poets.
The composer, yes.
Ah,
Now, I'm going to move on to some questions from the audience.
all right.
I'm sure they would be honored if you answer those questions. எனக்கு என்ன நம்ப முடியலன்னா இவ்வளோண்டு தான் பேசியிருக்கோம். நான் பாதி தான் கவர் பண்ணியிருக்கேன் நான் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ண கொஸ்டின்ஸ்ல. அப்படியும் 1 மணி நேரம் ஆயிடுச்சு.
1 மணி நேரம் ஆயிடுச்சா?
So I have to let you go at some point of time, unwillingly, but nevertheless. So there's a question from Shilpi Ravi, Kolkata. Why don't we see you at least in character roles in Bollywood movies?
Why I must do character roles in Bollywood films?
Or a little bit in Keterga.
I do main roles only. வேற அடுத்த கொஸ்டின் இருக்காக்கா இந்த மாதிரி கேட்டுக்கலாம்.
இல்ல இன்னொரு கொஸ்டின் வந்து கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மீனிங்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கு. It's a question from Rajagopalan AV. Is it good for Bharatanatyam art to rely on recorded music?
Well, it is good to any kind of art just for it in order to move on. There should not be any conditions or it should not be chained down to anything. Example, Bharatanatyam is an expensive art form. So the generations are finding it increasingly difficult to go and perform with live music. I am also finding it increasingly difficult to perform with live musicians. Not only in the financial aspect, but also in terms of time. A lot of people do not have the time to rehearse. So thankfully for me, I don't rehearse so much. So whenever an artist is free, I just put together maybe 1 rehearsal or 2 rehearsals and we go and do this show because I like to be surprised on stage. So I like to interact with the music. So that's also why I don't have so many singers. I just use very, very few accompanists. But it is sometimes also better to use recorded music because the recorded music, it is all in control. It is recorded in a controlled atmosphere. So everything is on tune and everything, you know exactly what is going to happen. So sometimes it's great music, but on a live, sometimes you just can't get a tuneful concert because of so many external influences. The mic balancing sound could be an open eye, whatever. We won't even have time to do sound check. So why not? A lot of people ask me, how has Bharatanatyam changed? What is it that I advise for artists? I don't know how much of the grammar has changed in music, but Bharatanatyam இதுல கொஞ்சம் மாறி இருக்குன்னா நிறைய additions போட்டிருக்கா. Everybody has used a lot of additions. So my personal opinion is, you need to know what the original was. The original came from around 1940s. It stopped around 1990s, 2000. So 1990s, there are a lot of movements that are extra. So that extra movement is all linear. So clearly, when you put in extra movements that don't belong in that structure, but linear, people think it is Bharatanatyam. It is lovely. It's got a root in your Abhinaya Darpana, it's got a root in the Natya Shastra. Everything does. But is it Bharatanatyam? I don't know. Right. So as long as an artist does that kind of reading up, I think he or she can do whatever she wants to do. The reading, unfortunately, is not there. Because the entire learning comes from watching everybody else on either Facebook or you're all doing the same thing at the end of the day. What do you learn from somebody else? How to put a camera here and get something? Who is being more effective? So that, unfortunately, has become the norm now. So எப்படி படிக்க முடியும்? அதுல படிக்க முடிய மாட்டேங்குது. That is my only thing. So yeah, I think recorded music is also great.
Now, especially when you do big productions. Like Krishna was done with recorded music, right? No?
Yeah. Krishna was
அப்புறம் நீங்க fusion பண்ற அந்த ஷோஸ்லாம்
fusion ellame recorded music da.
ஆமா.
Now we barely have 2 or 3 musicians to accompany us
Right,
because
right.
we just have people who will cut through the tracks. Ipo, even like a keyboard for me is a very traditional instrument because it's on tune.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that is all I'm bothered about. You got to be in tune. Doesn't matter what you call that instrument. You can say you're having a really traditional instrument. It need not be great. Or you can say you're doing a nice padavarnam. It need not be super. Or you can just do some flimsy dance. It could be fantastic. So idella, I think mindset marid actually with the younger generation. They're very cool. They're very cool and they're very blasé about it. It's good in one way, but my only advice is that it's nice to know where it comes from, so that when you take off, you are very grounded when you take off the art. And the music like has the grammar itself changed?
I don't think, not too much. Not
Not
too
too
much.
much.
Not as much as dance, yes. We still hold on to a, a kind of a tradition and ஒரு அளவுக்கு conservative way of presenting a raga. Or some are trying to approach it differently, some artists,
Okay.
but avalume they fall into line after a few concerts. They begin with something else and end with a varnam or some. I mean, they try out new things. All of us keep trying, and then what, as you say, what works for each one, I think we hold on to it.
I have also found now, since I've done so many years of performances, I just think that the old ways work. It's called a time tested way.
Exactly.
அதுதான் மற்றவெல்லாம் பண்ணியாச்சு. Why do you put a margam? When a concert is successful, you can't really change around a time tested method and then expect it to be successful just because you try to change around something. There is more surety that even an average performance will be okay if you probably go through some time tested ragas. I'm talking only about dance, like a Kautuvam, and then you do a Padavarnam. I love those Padavarnams. I just hope, I don't know how long I'll be able to do them, but I just hope that forever they're just going around like planets, those nine ragas for Padavarnams. And then the Tilana, and then so again Tilanas, people like it lighter, but
Yes.
I like it heavier. Like the Tilanas. I do the Javali or something. So I like it like that. I like it when people take back like a heavier raga, sort of a light, So instead of ending with a folk or something, I like to. That is from Chitraka, from my guru. She used to end with Bhajagovindam, Bhavayami, Raghurama, not Gopala Balam. So she used to end with those kind of bhajans. So that feeling of, it is spiritual entertainment. But that's the difference. So that's what I like to do.
So there's a question from Deepak Venkatesh, who himself is a dancer. He says, in Bharatanatyam, what should a dancer practice much? Is it abhinaya or nritta or?
You must practice nritta. I think you should practice nritta for at least 15 to 17 years. And then abhinayam, you might not have to practice. Abhinayam is you. Abhinayam is how you learn. Abhinayam is you have to have a visual way of learning. That's one thing. That is only the technicality. And then your muscles, again, another technicality or a physicality of abhinaya, or your muscles have to move. But over and above that, you have to read, have to understand the ragam, the meaning. You need to understand that you're communicating. I presume it is abhinaya of Bharatanatyam that he's talking about, of certain Tanjavur padams or Tanjavur padavarnams. That time you've got to understand that these are all sentiments conveyed, a long, long time ago. The way when the modernized panna, maybe it might not take off. So it's just everybody is going forward. You need to take yourself back in a time capsule and put yourself in a village where people are, your poets, க்ஷேத்ரஜர் அவர் எப்படி பண்ணாரு, அவருக்கு என்ன, அவர் அதெல்லாம் வந்து நம்ம அதை அப்படி யோசிச்சா அதுக்கெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் வயசு வேணும். This is abhinay. You have to understand it, you have to feel what, you have to read between the lines. And when you read between the lines, I don't know if so much of modernity is required, the modern thoughts of Shringaram.
There was an era when classical dance ruled in films. Today, it's a different scene, I think, with a completely different audience. What do you think are the prerequisites that can bring in the old world classical charm, yet cater to an ever-changing audience? Or will the wheels turn and we can see more of classicism soon? For example, Kantara. It's a movie now, everyone's talking about it, where the ancient holds an element of beauty and surprise.
Okay. So if you talk about Kantara, which I haven't seen, I must see it. I think I saw some rushes where it's about theatre, some more maskla, but otherwise, the beautiful era of classical dance can never come back. Because they were all the masters of beauty. If you look at Vaijayanti Amma, or you look at my aunts, or all of their competitors, colleagues, Sai Subbalakshmi, நிறைய பேர் அப்படி இருக்கா. The way why we are saying it is so beautiful, our generation, is because they were all so feminine. So now there is, as I said, அங்க அவர் பண்ற வேலை நம்மளும் பண்றோம், அந்த மாதிரி யோசிக்கிறேன். நானும் அப்படிதான் யோசிப்பேன். ஆம்பளை மட்டும்தான் அது தூக்க முடியும், நம்மளும் பண்றோம். அந்த ஒரு ஜெனரேஷன் இது, where we're all trying to get into each other's shoes, which is fine. But the way those artists presented themselves, and the way the cinematographers, captured that, and the music that was presented for them, it had a lot of Shringaram. Avladhaan. Shringaram is not love. Shringaram is the beauty of everything.
Yes.
Everything about that frame was beautiful. Whether you lit the frame, அவங்க அந்த மூக்கத்தி, அவங்களோட அந்த அந்த நகை அலங்காரம், அவங்களோட அந்த அபிநயம், everything is like a wow. So அது இப்போ எனக்கு தெரியாது நிஜமாவே. It's a snack picking generation. இப்படி இது நல்லா இருக்கா, அது நல்லா இருக்கா, அது இப்படி. ஸோ அந்த ஜெனரேஷனுக்கு போயிட்டு நம்ம உட்காந்து நீலே அதெல்லாம், I don't think that. But having said that, I don't think anybody can come near my aunts, come near Vaijayanti Amma. I had the good fortune of meeting her recently. I get so emotional because when I see her, I think of my aunt. I remember, her coming to, they were competitors.
Right.
They were very aggressively competing. But when she came to my house at the funeral of my aunt, I've never discussed this with anybody. The first thing, she herself was a little frail. This was, I think, 10 years ago, whatever. So she came in and then she looked at my aunt lying there and she said, "Ayyo, puppy!" So எனக்கு வந்து இவாலாம், there is no next generation for all. Of course we have this beautiful doyens of beauty like Aishwarya Rai. அவங்களும் கொஞ்சம் அப்படிதான். அவங்களுக்கும் வந்து எல்லாமே shringaram. Everything she does and she looks, everything is like that. So now coming back to the dance, I don't know if we are going to make those kind of beautiful dances anymore, because we think it's beautiful, but I don't know if the audiences will actually think it's beautiful, because they've been raised with a different sensibility.
Right.
They've been raised with a different musicality. They've been raised like, if I can say I find the harmonium traditional, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Right? So those guys, so for them எல்லாமே வந்து traditional. அவங்களுக்கு அந்த ரஞ்சித் பர்வத்தும் ட்ரெடிஷனல், எல்லாமே ட்ரெடிஷனல் தான் அவங்களுக்கு. இட்ஸ் ஆல் இந்தியன் ஃபார் தெம், நத்திங் இஸ் வெஸ்டர்ன். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஜெனரேஷனுக்கு நம்ம யோசிக்கணும். அதுதான் நான் பண்ணேன் கிருஷ்ணால. there was nothing non-traditional about it.
Okay.
It was our own mythology. Nothing was changed.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
like the crux of him. So இதுல வந்து அந்த சில conflicting thoughts எல்லாம் எடுக்கல கிருஷ்ணரை பத்தி. He was the ultimate. The success was that he was there was nothing. அவர் வந்தாரு, துணி எடுத்தாரு, அதெல்லாம் வந்து is for me it's not, all those stories don't make any kind of sense. They would have had a reason for it. Like as a child it's different, children are innocent, they go look, they go touch. குழந்தைகளுக்கு தெரியாது, யார வேணா தொட்டுன்னு போவா அவளுக்கு. If you look at a boy sometimes, so அந்த மாதிரியா இருக்கலாம், so so I've already done it in my productions. It's already been successful. So it's not like the audience is not open to it. They are open to anything. We cannot put the audience in a box. So we can't do that. So we can even do a Todi Padavarnam and take on the audience. That's how it is.
So some smaller questions, short answers.
Sure.
How do you de-stress?
Oh, before stage or after stage or during? I'm always
anywhere. Sari, stage la romba or serious performance ku appuram how do you de-stress? Or you had a very very busy tour, the tour mudinji eppadi de-stress pannuva?
I just don't do anything. I'm totally crushed. I give a lot into my concerts, not that nobody else does, but physically now it's getting more and more difficult for me, and the more difficult it gets, the more jatis I add. And I just think that I should just keep at it. So at the end of the concert, they have to just basically carry me and go. But when I perform in Kerala, the kind of love that the audiences have for me still is something where I just fly. After a performance, I go there. There are 5,000 people not going home, and I'm thinking I'm a passe, aren't I? I'm just not doing films anymore. But look at them. மழை இருந்தா கொடை பிடிச்சு நிப்பா.
So cute.
ஃபுல்லா வந்து அடைச்சிருக்கும், ஒரு காத்து இல்லாம 5,000 பேர்ல உள்ள அப்படி ஸ்டைஃபில்டா அப்படி நின்னுட்டு இருப்பா. அப்படி பார்த்துண்டு குழந்தை எல்லாம் கிரஷ் ஆகி, அப்புறம் ஒரு 1.5 மணி நேரமோ 2 மணி நேரம் வந்து சில பேரு கிளம்பி போவா ஃப்ரண்ட்ல இருந்து. ஸோ அப்படி எல்லாம் வந்து பண்றச்ச how can you not give them more than you can do? And then so அதெல்லாம் தான் இப்போ I think it's only the audience that probably drives me on stage. De-stressing வந்து, see, you were actually mentioned something about chaos and confusions. So people ask you, how come you're like this, like the calm, the eye of the storm or something like that?
Yes.
எனக்கும் அப்படிதான். ஏன்னா எனக்கு நான் வந்து once I start focusing, I super focus. I focus so much that it's like I destroy myself in the way. So therefore I like to have a lot of confusions around me.
So அதுதான் de-stressor.
அது வந்து de-stressor கிடையாது. இது ஷோக்கு முன்னாடி இருக்கிறது ஒன்றும் de-stressor கிடையாது. அது வந்து நியூசன்ஸ், ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸே இல்லை. so many nuisances நான் அப்படி வளர்த்தி விடுவேன். ஏன்னா then I can kind of look at all these nuisances and I can sort it all out, because then otherwise I'm my own nemesis Mari. I just destroy myself with what I do. So and then by the time I get to the concert, I'm already finished, I'm bored. So I kind of keep that whole thought process for the stage. But before na padchuma எல்லாரையும் பண்ணிட்டு சிரிச்சுண்டு போயிண்டு.
சாப்பாடுக்கு வருவோம். What is your best favorite? எனக்கு அந்த சாப்பாடு இருந்தா போறோம் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி.
இப்போ வந்து எனக்கு எந்த சாப்பாடுனா, எனக்கு டயட் தான். எனக்கு வந்து ரொம்ப கஷ்டம்.
என்ன பிடிக்கும்?
டயட் எனக்கு வந்து எப்படின்னா, நான் புரோட்டீன் ஷேக்கும் குடிப்பேன், அதுக்கப்புறம் டயட்டும் போவேன். தென் சம்படி புரோட்டீன் ஷேக்கும் வந்து டயட்டும் 2 இல்லை, ஒன்று தான் குடிக்கணும், ஒன்று தான் சாப்பிடணும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஐம் ஆல்வேஸ் ஹங்க்ரி. ஐ am perennially hungry. I'm forever hungry. And I'm always going up the wall because I'm supposed to watch my weight. So Yeah, so I do all these really nasty diets, the 3 day diets. Then I went on a 7 day diet. I went on a crash diet. So அதுக்கப்புறம் just before a concert, I'll go on all these diets. So ஒண்ணுமே ஒரு பெருசா சொல்ற மாதிரி இல்ல. But I think my mom, she's now much, much older. She lives just downstairs. So when she decides to cook pav, she will come up and say, "நீ வந்து நான் உனக்கு ஏதாவது நான் பண்ணி கொடுக்கட்டவா?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, 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 okay, okay." And then she will go, and then she's from Malaysia, so she makes like her noodles ஒரு மாதிரி bland இருக்கும். But I like it. You grow up, and then அது பாவம் ஏதோ ஒன்று பண்ணி தருவாங்க. So all those things I like. I don't like pizza. Whoever asked this question, I don't like pizza. I don't like pasta. I don't like all those breads, those burgers, those sandwiches, all the oiled fried stuff. I literally don't eat. So I eat protein. Do not eat red meat. So I just pick and choose.
Right.
I like Thai food,
Right.
the most fattening of it all. So இதெல்லாம் தான், and I love desserts. And I'm a pre-diabetic, so I'm okay.
So which is your most favorite vacation spot?
Oh,
sea, mountain?
yeah. Well, I went to Rome once. I went to Rome. It was magnificent. I had a terrible time in Rome. I got mugged. I had to walk from the airport to the hotel. I went there. I didn't have money. I didn't have a passport. I didn't have my credit cards. I was from like 18 or 19. That was my first holiday. I didn't tell anybody at home. I just left because I was so fed up of working. And I just went. Then I opened my purse to pay. I had nothing. That was the only time when the floor kind of spun under my feet. And then they were cool. They said, everybody gets mugged, ma. You go to your consulate, whatever nationality you are. I didn't have a passport. So I said, okay. Then I asked somebody, I said, where do I go? They said, Indian consulate, you walk further. So walk pane. So as I was walking, I saw all those beautiful piazzas and those fountains. And so with all my calamities, I was like a beggar, nasom, ஒரு மாதிரி ஃபினிஷ்டா இருக்கிறச்ச அப்படி வந்து வீட்டுல எவ்வளோ ஒரு ராணி மாதிரி இருந்து எவ்வளோ ஃபேமஸா இருந்து அங்க போய் ஒண்ணுமே இல்லாம ஒரு ஜஸ்ட் ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அது பேக் கூட எங்கேயோ வச்சுட்டேன். And I was looking at that beautiful place. It was so wonderful. Then I went to my consulate. My consulate fortunately had a Malayalam ambassador who just sprung. His name was Sebastian or somebody. He said, "Ma'am, what are you doing here?" I said, I got mugged. He's like, "Oh, no problem, no problem. You'll find your passport again." So the passport was found. The money, of course, was not found. My credit cards were okay. So I went back to Rome. So I found Rome, the Vatican, and all those beautiful places very, very beautiful. திருப்பியும் போவேன் Rome.
Yes, I too love Rome. I love Venice as well. Venice and Rome are two places that haunt my dreams. Yeah, Venice is also beautiful.
கொஞ்சம் பயம் எனக்கு வெனிஸ்ல. கொஞ்சம் திறந்து பார்த்தா அப்படியே தண்ணி. But I know it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Quaint ஒரு beauty இருக்காங்க.
Sorry?
Quaint.
There's something about Italy.
Yes. So, with the last question, what?
Have you been to Japan?
No, actually not. Awesome, huh?
Awesome. சாப்பாடு கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு.
Okay. All right.
Boiled fish.
Right. So one last question. Is there anything in life that you think you haven't done and you want to do?
Oh, well, I began like that. Before COVID, I wanted to make a documentary on the Tanjavur temples. Then I went for 2 years. I was looking for permission. They wouldn't give it to me because they said, we won't give it to you. I presume it was because I was a film person and they got confused. I think they thought I was going to make a film there, though I kept telling them for 2 years, I'm not making a film there, I'm making a documentary. Finally, everything changed and I got the permission. So that was one thing I was always wanted to do, the documentary. We've begun it. It's still we've just went and shot at the temple. We've taken a lot of beautiful sequences there. And then there is nothing else I actually want to do. I just want to work with good music. Just want to work with great music. That's about it. Pretty simple.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And is there anything you want to say to your audience?
Well, I think we have to, I mean, for us, we find our calm in music, and whatever, you know, calamities that befall all of us, which it will come, it will go. We all need something to hide behind or to be, soaked into. So we've been lucky enough to find our, you know, dreams. So I just would like everybody to also hope like that positively, to find what actually you want to do. You might want to do something for finance, that's fine. But while you do that, there's if you are a dreamer, always dreaming, I don't think you should put that in the closet forever.
Right.
I've heard of many people, all these people who suddenly give up, these millionaires, and then they do something totally different. So I
Hmm.
think before it used to be older people. Now the age gap is
Yeah.
coming down. Now the people in their 50s who used to do it. Now the people in their 30s who are doing it. Nariya, when whatever they need, they will figure it out, and then they will say, "Let me only live once." So I think I would be very happy if every hardworking Indian person, after working so hard, because Indian people work very hard. We always
Hmm.
were made to study. We're always, whether we like to study or not, whether we like the subject or not, we need to study. Why are you not studying? Why are you not studying? Well, same thing. I ask my kid the same question. But after that, after you worked so hard for other people, I think there's there's no risk in that. There's no risk in you doing what you want for yourself.
Thank you so much. I have no words to express the joy in my heart. I'm really awed speaking to you just for the fact that you've done so much, a spectrum of activity, outstanding actor, a dancer whom I love watching. I've been at your shows. I'm really so honored to interact with you.
Thank you.
I've seen you on screen, I've seen you on stage, but across the comp, it's like unbelievable. But I need to pinch myself to say, yes, it's real.
நானும் ஒன்று சொல்லட்டுமா?
சொல்லுங்க.
Um, I have also worked, you've only made me say positive things about people, about actors, of course. But a lot of very qualified, successful artists like yourself, uh, there is a little bit of a need to kind of show off your strength and power, especially. So you've had a lot of opportunities to do that right now. But I would like to thank you for your humility, for having made me comfortable, and for listening. And I think you are also, Akar, a very genuine person.
Thank you. To hear it from you is a huge validation for me, really. Of course, as artists, we love praising each other, and when one praises the other, you find, some kind of extra happiness in that. But what you've said now really touches my heart, and I really believe at the end of the day, we're all just on the same footing. Like MLV used to say, 3 மணி நேரம் ஏறி ஸ்டேஜ் ஏறி பாடுறோம் ட்ரெஸ் பண்ணிட்டு, அதை தவிர என்ன வித்தியாசம் உனக்கும் இன்னொருத்தருக்கும்? So be a human being and
Can
be.
I tell you just another anecdote, Akka? Once you said MLB, mommy. Uh,
Yes.
uh, there is one when you said this particular line. What she said? No, she said, என்ன சொன்னீங்க? என்ன சொன்னீங்க? என்ன சொன்னீங்க?
3 மணி நேரம் தான் ஸ்டேஜ் ஏறி ட்ரெஸ் பண்ணிட்டு ஏதோ பாடுறோம், எல்லாரும் நம்மளை பார்க்கறா, புகழறா. அதை தவிர when you get off stage, you're just like any other person. So
So
why can't you be just the person?
So I did a film with Vidyaka. Srividya, her daughter, and she was a superstar at that time. I even remember the film. It was called Ayanam.
Mhm.
So அதுல வந்து வித்யாமாக்கு ஒரு room, and because of our family connections, she said come, and it was hot, really hot. It was in Trichur. I still remember it was such a hot house, and I was given a room without an AC, and she was given an AC room. And then she asked her hairdresser. She asked her hairdresser. She said, just call her here. The hairdresser, okay. Hairdresser went call me, said amma vilikano, vidya amma vilikano. So I went. I said appa nalla vela. So we were just talking. She's very, very fond of me. Then the hairdresser got her something to eat. Well, I was like 17 or something. So ஒரே பசி. So அதை எடுத்து I had something from her box. Immediately that lady said, oh, the വിദ്യാമ്മയുടെയാണ്, നിങ്ങൾ എങ്ങനെ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ കഴിക്കാൻ പറ്റും, അത് വിദ്യാമ്മയുടെ diet എന്തൊക്കെയോ. Then she told her exactly the same words that her mother said. She said, പേര്, she said, മാ അവരും ഞാനും ഒന്നാ, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇടുന്ന പാൻകേക്ക് എല്ലാം ഒന്നാണ്. அவங்க கடைசியில அவங்களும் நானும் சேம் பேன்கேக் போடுறோம், அதே
Right.
பேன்கேக் போடுறோம்.
Awesome.
It's her daughter, right?
Right.
So that was the connection.
The mental thinking, yes, is the same.
So she
And
thought,
let's finish on this lovely note of, being grounded always. I think that can be a message for the incoming generation.
but you're not grounded. Don't quote me.
Wishing you all the best, Shobana, for Margari.
Okay.
And keep smiling and laughing. It's always a pleasure to see you so beautiful.
Thank
Just
you.
be yourself and keep driving up the wall whenever
Driving
you
up the wall.
that. When you eat, when you binge.
Will do.
Okay, bye. We have to let her go, audience. Wow. I'm truly speechless. That was an action-packed hour, I must say. Not enough. இல்லையா பேசினது வந்து போறல. எவ்வளவு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு இன்னும் இருக்கு அவளுடைய ஜேர்னிலேருந்து. How much takeaway. And for all that she's done, I think she was so ready to answer anything that I asked her, and was ready to share so much that she has crossed and wishes to do in future. So we are nearing the much anticipated season time, live after 2 years. So there's so much happening. And I think I might have to wait to bring in the next episode of Expressions Espresso to January. So we'll do my best to see how sooner we can meet. Until then, stay safe. Again, be cautious when you go into crowds, and when you see people coughing and sneezing around you, make your own discipline tableau and follow it. See y'all, and tada until next.